Let's just return to the story regarding Greg Wallis, shall we, for a few moments, because in an online post last week, Greg Wallis appeared to link the misconduct claims to his autism diagnosis. Dan Harris is the founder of the Neurodiversity in Business charity, joins us now. Good to have you with us. What have you made about these elements of Greg Wallis's story and of the claims he's been making?
Thank you for having me. Well, look, I'm not here to attack Greg Wallis. I'm here to defend autistic people from being scapegoated. And at the same time, the focus of this short story should be about defending workers from unsafe environment. It's really important to say that autism is a way of thinking. It's not a free pass for behaviour.
And that was something that you talk about, the defence of people with autism. You referenced there the National Autistic Society was saying that it was at pains to point out that people shouldn't make generalisations as a result of this story and of some of the elements that he's been talking about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the maxim is that you've met one autistic person and you've only met that one person. So autism is a very broad spectrum, and each individual needs to be valued and judged on their own merits.
What level of support, what level of training, what level of understanding does the media industry, to corporations, to businesses have for supporting people and taking into account that diversity that you reference?
I think it's fair to say on this occasion that we are in a relatively early stage in the neurodiversity in business movement. I think that a large number of corporates do not have well thought out neuro-inclusion work practices, and they also don't have a good enough understanding about how to deal with this topic. So I think this aspect is something we shouldn't brush under the carpet, which is businesses, including the BBC, including production companies, could and should do better by their autistic staff.
It's worth noting in the report that it notes that Mr. Wallis's neurodiversity diagnosis is considered highly relevant. He accepts it may explain some of his actions, but that Greg Wallis says he does not wish to hide behind it. What is then the best practice from your perspective from corporations, from people like the BBC, Sky News, other industry bodies in supporting people that may need it? What's the best way of making an inclusive workplace that helps people be the best of themselves?
Absolutely. And look, let me first answer that point, is that it is slightly disingenuous to refer to the fact that he doesn't want to stand behind the diagnosis when actually his friends have been briefing the media on this topic. So I think we do need to call out that blaming misconduct on autism, it just throws the autistic community under the bus. And, this is a moment for us to reflect on how we talk about disability, power and accountability. And it's super important that we don't allow the weaponisation of neurodivergence to shield influential men from scrutiny. In terms of your question, the reality is that autistic people are highly productive and highly engaged members of our society. What we need to be doing as businesses is asking employees, how do I get the best out of you as an employee? Rather than, do I need a medical diagnosis? Do I need a doctor's note? Do I need any kind of medicalisation of this process? This is about the power of autistic individuals.
Do you feel as though society is improving in a point of stasis, or I dare to think it, but getting worse in any of these aspects of making people have supportive environments, supportive workplaces, of having that conversation that you've just alluded to?
Society is getting better, definitely, and I hope that neurodiversity in business has been an important part of this. But I still think back to what society do I want for my 11-year-old non-speaking autistic son? We call him the Joshie-Man. He's a global activist on this topic. We want a society where autism and other elements of neurodiversity are just thought about as cognitive difference. Just as you have a slightly different shade of hair as me, and you're going to be taller or smaller, why would our brains not develop differently, just as our physical aspects develop differently?
But then you are then posed with challenges such as stories of these that potentially, the briefings, like you say, that are being given to the media can potentially derail some of those efforts, or at least make them more complicated now.
They definitely do. They muddy the waters. But you know what? I have faith in the great British public that most people have seen through this excuse for what it was. And I'm hopeful that actually, although this has been a difficult week for the autistic community, it's been a week that we actually needed to raise and surface this issue and talk about the point that neurodiversity is something which is across our society. It's something that we can and should be dealing with right now.
A couple of other organisations, NeuroUniverse, said that it didn't make the connection between the alleged behaviour and autism. Blind Ambition, which provides disability training, says to use autism as an excuse is very, very poor. How buoyed were you by the fact that there were numerous voices in this sphere that were saying very similar things?
It was wonderful to see the autistic community come together, and it was wonderful to see the allyship that we had in the media and in businesses, and just the number of people that were calling out this topic in newspapers, on LinkedIn posts, etc. was really it was emboldening for our community.
Dan Harris, founder of Neurodiversity in Business, the charity. Good to have you with us. Thank you for sharing your time.